Once, in a windswept corner of prairie farmland, there was an old farmer who worked hard. Now, while his children worked the farm as well, as is the way in farming families, the old man also insisted his children pay attention to their schoolwork. He himself had only a 6th grade education, which was not at all unusual for farm folk in those days. Come the Great Depression, many children had had to stop school in order to work with their families. The old farmer had done all right over the years, but he wanted more than this backbreaking dawn to dusk work for his own children, so he scrimped and saved and finally sent his firstborn son off to college. First in the history of their family. Off the boy went that fall semester with determination and a knack for mathematics to major in engineering. Come November, time came for the young man to return home for the family Thanksgiving gathering. Family gathered round the table, and grace was said as all the kids and aunts and uncles and cousins and grandma and grandpa crowed over the bountiful spread before them. And so it was in the midst of all this happy chatter and clanking of knives and forks on plates that the old man squared up his chest and asked his boy, "Well, son, tell us about going to college." The young man allowed us how it was different from life on the farm, taking some time to get used to, like needing to use an alarm clock given there were no roosters to wake him up, in the way he grew up. The family laughed. "Well," the old man said, "tell us more. What are your studies like?" The young man stopped his fork in midair and said, "Well, you know how I want to be an engineer. I think we can be more efficient here on the farm, and I aim to figure how." The old man beamed. "Go on." "Well," the young man went on, "right now I'm mostly taking the courses that are required for my first year, but I especially enjoy algebra." "Algebra!" the old man exclaimed. "What do y'all think of that?" Family murmured their happy responses through their mouths full. "Algebra! So," the old man continued, his face shining, motioned to his son, "say something in algebra, son." The boy hesitated, his face clearly registering conflict. It's not really like, "Go ahead, we're listening, son. Say something in algebra." Well, okay. Pi r squared." The old man looked crestfallen, his eyes cast down at the table, confused. The rest of the family fell silent. Finally, after excruciating wait, the old man said more mournfully, "Oh, son, what in the world are they teaching y'all up there? Everybody knows pi r round, pi r not square." I first heard this joke, I first learned it as a redneck joke told by my father. He told it intending to both make light of the farm folk our family had come from just one generation before him, and to signal that we were no longer so ignorant as those who came before us. Never mind the fact that my grandfather, who started our family, was a tenant farmer just outside Okemah, Oklahoma at the beginning. My mother was born in a dirt floor creekside shack on 40 borrowed acres. And then he had taught himself the algebra he needed to do the refinery job when the oil boom began, so he could fake his way into the job and join the union. He taught himself the algebra. He had a 6th grade education. I don't see that story that way anymore. These days I see it more as a story about expectations. What the farmer expected his son was learning. What the son expected when he came back home. Think about expectations and where they tend to too often lead. Disappointment, frustration, or often unhappiness, especially around the holidays. The holiday season is ever and always framed in stories of an abundance of spirit as well as of stuff, with trees perfectly trimmed, plenty of exquisitely wrapped packages, along with family reconciliation, selfless giving, and grandma getting to see the new baby and the soldier getting home just in time to surprise her mother. So tell me, am I the only one here in the room this morning that tears up at the Publix commercials this time of year? I didn't think I was alone. Why do you think that is? Expectations. They work in two ways for a lot of us. Kind of a yin-yang, hopeless, helpless, love, hate, happy, hurt kind of thing. We see the beauty in it. We see the sweetness. We see a depiction of all the things a holiday gathering can be, and it touches our hearts with its tenderness and its retelling of the deep human goodness we continue to believe in, even in the midst of the most troubling times. But at the same time, it can cause us to grieve for those very same things. If they were missing in our holiday experiences past, or if they're missing now. For most of us, for most of our lives, we're led to believe the winter holidays are supposed to be all joy to the world and fa la 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 la, and in some deep part of ourselves there lives a child self that still wishes that were so. Deep in ourselves, we still have this thought, maybe this time, maybe this year, I've been really good. Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please. For a lot of folks, holidays just aren't. And neither are we. Now, some folks grew up getting all the gifts they wanted, but not the warmth and kindness of family. Some folks grew up with all the warmth and kindness plenty, but not getting the cool kid stuff, and we suffered embarrassment that can go with that. In my own growing up, the happiest Christmas I remember was one of our brokest. And then there was one where the gifts were amazing, but it was also Christmas of the first divorce in our family's history, and no one was happy. Oh wait, there's a third layer. There's a third layer to these expectations that we build up for the holidays and what they can bring us. It's the disorientation and the disillusionment that can overtake us if we actually did grow up in a kind of idyllic family, or at least we thought our families were pretty darn close to it. We kind of thought we looked like the Publix commercials until we figured at some point, maybe our teen years, or college, or as an adult looking back, that we weren't. That it wasn't. There were secrets. It's harder to resolve even that. Or maybe we knew it at the time. Maybe we knew that things just weren't quite right, but we were in a position in a kind of family where the appearances had to be kept up. Preacher's kid. But they didn't only happen to preacher's kids. Lots of people feel like they have to keep up appearances when they're kids. So listen, let's think about this a different way. There is a reason that this holiday season, this season of light, as it is called across cultures, is this time of year. There's a reason it's right now. There's a reason that there are festivals all over the world It started in November, early in November, and in the coming months. There are reasons that religions and cultures all over the world light candles or lamps or laud the stars in the sky and light bonfires. From Hinduism's Diwali in the first week of November to Christianity's Candlemas in the first week of February, with Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Yule, and some 30 other holidays in between. All of them lighting candles. Why do we do it? Throughout history, and even now, today. The reason the holidays of light come this time of year is because it's now that things get dark. Unitarian Universalist theologian A. Powell Davies put it like this: whenever we feel pessimistic concerning the future of humanity upon this troubled planet, we can always remember this, that with all of our fears and failings, humankind has yet somehow managed to put the brightest of its festivals in the darkest part of the year. Not at midsummer, but at midwinter. Human beings celebrate most universally their hope and their joy. The hardihood of these festivals, coming as they have through many thousands of years, and rising stage by stage from primitive frenzy to pagan jubilation to the symbolism of Christian observance and beyond, they give us true confidence and reassurance that when it is darkest, humanity celebrates light. When the earth is most desolate, we sing joy. When the harshest and bleakest of seasons is upon us, we turn to gentleness and kindness and forbearance and generosity. Human courage can rise superior to its circumstance. Davies wrote those words in 1946 in the wake of World War II. Human courage can rise superior to its circumstance. I've learned over the years the need to reset my expectations for this time of year. And I find the quickest way to improve my experience, to lift my own spirits, and to touch upon greater happiness is to shift my expectations of that experience. And that shift for me most often is rooted in the attribute we celebrate this holiday weekend: gratitude, thankfulness. Setting my vision to recognize what I do have rather than what I don't. To count up rather than counting down. To see beauty first, even when there is much ugliness about. To hold up goodness. To turn toward kindness. To laud justice. To spotlight love. To sing of the most extraordinary things that ordinary people do. I can't always keep that up, though. I get slogged down in the dark, too. Especially these days when the very American institutions we were brought up to believe were righteous and impervious and more or less indestructible turn out to not be that at all. And worse, that we who have walked this world in relative privilege have been complicit in their oppression of our siblings and neighbors who have throughout history clung to hope and justice by the thinnest of margins. And then I remember that they are still here. And that they are still here is a tribute to human courage superior to its circumstance. The audacity of love, the power of hope, the sheer ferocity of people that will not give up, of spirit that will not die. And I remember there are people all over this planet at any given moment giving the best they have all day, every day, that their lives might be improved, that the other people's lives might be improved, and thereby improve their own. I think of the homeless guy who sings and plays his guitar on the corner between my house and here. I watch people out and about just being kinder than they have to be to people that don't seem to deserve it. And you know what? The kind people outnumber the unkind. It's just that kindness doesn't make the news. Except the very last story that they show you to help you feel a little better at the end of all the other. When I see those people, how dare I ever think of throwing up my hands when they have not? All these living examples of human courage rising. And that brings me to shift into gratitude again. Then, no sooner have I shifted. Here comes another Publix holiday commercial family designed to make me miss family the way it was, the way it could have been, the way it was supposed to be. It's supposed to make me miss all that, and it works. Sometimes you can't go home again. Sometimes family of birth is no longer an option. Sometimes the family you birthed are out on their own adventures and far from home. Or maybe your life has always been about chosen family, which can be stronger even than love and both. And that's when I shift again and turn toward my beautiful, bountiful, precious family of choice. And Brooke and I in our quiet little home just around the corner from here. And gratitude overtakes me again, so powerful I can hardly contain it. And I think of you. This beloved community at River of Grass. I watch how you care for one another. I watch how you cherish this faith and this place. I don't mean this building, I mean this gathering of people. And you give yourselves to it over and over and over and over again. I think of how you've gone through stuff that other congregations would have come completely apart over and never survived to be gone for good. Here you are. Here we are, this morning, defying the odds in every way that you can think of. Human courage rising above its circumstance. And so there's that shift, that reset of expectations that can hold us not only through the holidays, that tend to, at best, be unreasonable, at worst, entirely out of proportion. Turns out, that old farmer was right. Everybody knows pi is round. And in the language of algebra, son is right too. Pi, r squared. So the boy was right. The old farmer was right. Together they brought new awareness and new knowledge and new growth to shift their experience. In a moment, we will share the round kind of pie. I don't know, unless somebody brought a square one. In our hospitality time, we'll share a bite of sweetness made with kindness and offered in love, measured into infinity. We'll talk of our lives. We'll figure out ways to make each other better and the world better. You know those Publix commercials? They can't even compare to you.